You're such a fantastic cook. Now, does that well, firstly, I haven't tasted any of your food, so I'm just seeing
Yeah.
it looks on Instagram. But is that something that you get from your mom as well? And is that something that you were raised with? And when did you start cooking? Like, I want to hear about your cooking journey.
Yeah. So I think maybe I started cooking a little bit when I was in high school. I mean, I was always around the kitchen when my mom was cooking and helping out. But really, like the creative energy, I definitely started to soak in at that time. And I love I love projects, I guess. It doesn't even have to be food, like whether it's like building furniture, which is something I recently did,
Yeah,
or
I saw that on your Instagram too.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like figuring out a puzzle or cooking. It's just like this idea of like you have access to these resources, like how are you going to utilize it to make something new and something exciting? And it's a rewarding process for me, I feel. And it's not even because like I necessarily want to eat that food, but I think I find an enjoyment in the process. And I also find enjoyment in feeding others. Like that's probably one of my biggest joys. So I really love I love that food can bring people together, and it's a form of nourishment, not just for the body but for the soul, and a way to connect with others. It's so central to how we interact. Whether it's in the home or we're out meeting new friends or at a party or anything. So I think it's a wonderful aspect of life. And sometimes I think a lot of people can find it daunting or intimidating, and you see this long list of ingredients on the blog post, you're like, there's no way. I need to go grocery shopping for like an hour to find all this stuff. But I do feel like I think that social media has played a big role in breaking that mentality for a lot of people, especially during quarantine when things were shut down and a lot of people were forced to learn how to cook
I've had banana bread at least 7 times during quarantine.
That is definitely one of the main dishes of 2020. Yeah, but I think that this year has definitely given an opportunity for a lot of people to find inspiration on social media and kind of take that on as a new project or a new skill to learn and to enjoy. So I think that having this outlet through my blog and through Instagram and everything has been nice in that sense. Like I love that I can inspire people to give it a try and share things that are easy and accessible and don't take a lot of time, because we all live such busy lives. And I think that can often be a reason why people feel like, ordering is probably easier. And also with advocating for making healthier choices and making meals that are nutritionally balanced and not using like processed sugars and things like that, and talking about why we should be eating what I'm including in the recipe, and not just saying like, here's a recipe, it looks good, eat it, but like giving kind of substance to it, and showing how it can be beneficial for your body and for your mind. So
yeah, I think that's really important. Like a few things that I've come to realize over the last few years is I don't really have a connection with my food, in the sense that my mom would make it for me or somebody would cook it and I'll just eat it firstly. And even then, like you go to a supermarket and you just literally pick off shelves and you don't really know, like, actually, where does this actually come from? Like, food has become this like a resource where there's no real connection anymore. And like when I was traveling in India last year, like I was at the Goshala and then I was drinking milk like straight from the cow, right? And or chash, like straight from the, and I was like, wow, like this is the first time I've probably seen where it's actually come from. And there's a different feeling, there's a different energy around that. And like a lot of the stuff that you make is straight from scratch, isn't it? Like it's right from the beginning, and that shows that each process. And then when you're eating the food as well, you know exactly where everything has come from. So that must give a different amount of energy when it comes to, because especially with food and a lot of the Indian philosophies, and I think your love from sharing food must come from being Indian too. But like
Yeah.
a lot of the philosophies of India is that like food, like how you cook the food is so important as well. Like, because now my mom, like when she's making food, like she'll have really lovely music in the house and this, that, and the other. So
the energy you put in.
yeah, because again, it's living, right? Because you're eating something that's living too. So that has to be so important. So when you're cooking, I'm guessing you're in your happy place, and that that transitions into your food. Is that, do you? And also on that, when you haven't got the best of days, can you tell like from your food isn't at the best it can be?
That's a really good question that I feel like I haven't reflected on before.
Maybe because you're happy all the time. Yeah.
No, I mean, there are definitely days where I'm like coming home from work and I'm so, mentally exhausted and feel like, I'm just going to eat a bowl of cereal and go to sleep. Yeah. I have those days too. It's not always like something that you can be 100% enthusiastic about, right? Everybody goes through ups and downs in life that affects like other, areas of our energy. And I do feel like it still is something that if I do, even on a day that I'm not feeling great or up to it, it brings back a little bit of that energy. I think it's that sense of like, this is going to nourish me. And, I am trying to put in good things into my body so that I can have the energy to do the work that I do during the day at the hospital, or, be in a good mood to interact with my friends and family. And I think that it plays like it's such a role of nourishment, mentally, physically, like, emotionally. Maybe if it's not a great day, I'll bake something and have something sweet. It lightens the mood a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, what you shared about your experience in India is something I really resonate with too. So I actually studied abroad when I was, I studied abroad twice when I was in university in Switzerland and in Argentina. And particularly my experience in Argentina when I was getting ready to go there or apply to go to that program, everyone's like, Argentina, isn't that where like they export the greatest amount of like beef, and like how are you going to find anything vegetarian? And they were like, you're living with a homestay? What? Like, how are you going to eat anything? And I just had like such an amazing experience there that really changed my perspective on like how people we have these like perceived expectations or understandings of, what the boundaries will be. And that experience really showed me that that's not necessarily true. And when I was down there, I actually had the opportunity to go to a Hare Krishna farm and camp and stay there for a week. And essentially you stay there with the people that live there full time, and they're volunteers that come in and you help on the farm to like grow and to pick vegetables, and they eat vegan. And they also omit onion and garlic for different reasons. But I was like, oh, how convenient. This is like Jane food now. Yeah. So you can help on the farm, you meditate, you do yoga. And I just spent a week there by myself. And seeing that whole process of like what it's like to grow your own food and live off of that land and then cook that and then serve that to others, like that whole process just brought like this whole new energy and an appreciation for the work that goes into it. Like I try and grow a plant of basil in my windowsill, and most of the time it ends up dying. But like you start to really appreciate like the like abundance of food we have access to, and through that you learn kind of not to, things like not to waste, and you learn the time and energy that goes into it, not just for the person who is growing it, but the plant as an organism and as a living thing. And just that appreciation, I think, is something that really comes back around to that level of energy and, what we put into our bodies. I believe is totally affected by that.